Welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Pratik Gupta. Pratik, welcome on the show.
Hello, Nitin. Nice to speak to you.
It's great to have you here. Let's start with the very simple question. Who is Pratik?
Well, Pratik, on a personal front, I'm usually full of gratitude. I take life, as it comes, and I'm really thankful for all the experiences, all the people I know and I meet. I really cherish, lot of things in my life. And on a professional side, I'm bouncing between super confident and let's not hear anything about we know what we're doing kind of person, and then a huge imposter syndrome, troubling me all the time. Am I really fit for this? I think that's true for most startup founders, and that's the world that I keep bouncing between. Uh, but yeah, so far so good. I've been able to manage it, so it's an interesting journey.
Well, hey, what is an entrepreneurial journey if it's not for those ups and downs and those self-doubts and those huge bursts of ego, and then followed by, do I know what am I doing? So,
Yeah, I keep telling people, like, people keep asking me that should I start a company or not. I was like, that's one of the things you should at least try once. As
yes.
in, a lot of people I know are not cut out for it, but it's something that you should try once in your life. Maybe it will work for you or not, but it's good to do this.
So true. I mean, it's a roller coaster you want to get on and decide if that's something you will enjoy or it'll freak you out. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so tell us about your journey. Tell us about Strom Motors. What's the mission? What's the vision? What have you guys been up to over the past few years?
Yeah, so there's a little update on Storm Motors. Of course, Storm Motors, as some of you might know, is we started in 2016. We actually last year merged with a company called Gensol Engineering. They are into solar and renewable space. The two companies are very close in terms of the ethos that guides us, and we really saw good value in this, and so we are now called Gensol Electric Vehicles, Gensol EV as we call it. What we're doing here, the main mission is accelerate EV adoption. We live in a world where from the way I see it, I see we're just burying our head in the sand. There's lots of things coming our way. Climate change is a real thing. We might soon be faced with calamities like climate refugees and people, large populations moving to different parts of the world, and how do we embrace it politically, socially. These are all extreme, crazy scenarios. Today I saw in some news article that World Economic Forum is trying to say that they will push to stop fashion, because fashion itself is a
Yes.
huge carbon emitting industry, and everybody will be wearing like a uniform. So imagine like this world where we're all wearing the same clothes every day, day in and day out. These are all really nasty scenarios, and but the way I see it is it's a lot of problems, and as a problem solver, as an engineer, we kind of took it upon us to solve that problem, at least part of that problem, which is mobility. So we see mobility space evolving. This is back in 2016 when we were a private R&D company. We were a bunch of 20 people doing work on solar and electronics and stuff like that. And here comes electric vehicles, and we started exploring, talking to a lot of people. What we found was there's a massive disconnect. There is, on one side, there's a lot of people who want to go sustainable, but the technology, but the products that people or the industry is continuing to make is not the right fit. So our product is a compact mobility solution. We are like two-door, two-seater car. We call it personal mobility platform.
Mhm.
What it is it's a lightweight vehicle which requires significantly smaller amount of battery. to go, 200 kilometers, which is what we think people in India in urban cities is the right kind of a range to start with. So with that, we are making EVs more accessible. The price points are almost half of what other competing cars are, without giving up your, usual, things that you expect from a mobility platform like air conditioning and all of that. So it's a complete car with storage, with two seats and comfort, safety, and all of that. But it helps you join this sustainability movement. Even if you're not really into that, it is an extremely cost-effective way to move around the city. We're actually cheaper than a lot of metro systems and bus systems, public transport, what have you. So there on many ways, going small on mobility really helps without giving up the comforts that we expect. So that's what Gensol EV is all about. We're also, adding to that. We're also kind of delivering a cargo variant on that, which will help logistic suppliers to carry large, small boxes, last mile delivery. That business, of course, COVID really, accelerated that adoption for India. It's scheduled to kind of go 5x in the next 3 years. So that industry itself is also a big pollution center, and those are some of the problems that we're trying to solve. So our mission and vision is always around accelerating EV adoption. We want to make EVs more accessible to people and bring products that people would, readily and, would love to kind of use it. Yeah.
And that's you've been doing a lot. I know we've spoken a few times before on this, but first off, congratulations on the merger. That's huge validation for all the work you put in, all the research, all the planning, the vision that you put forward. And I can't wait to see this thing come alive and jump into one of these cars here pretty soon. I agree with you on pretty much everything, and I, for one, am a very big proponent that we should all wear uniforms. I'm kidding, but but yeah.
I hope not.
Well, congratulations again on the journey so far. I know uh, the things are coming alive as we speak, so can't wait to experience those. But give us a quick sense of the impact, the size and scale of the operations as you see it in the next few months.
Yeah, so we grew from like 7 people early last year to more than 120 people now, and we'll probably double by the end of this year. So it's a massive scale up for us, as an organization. We are in 3 locations. We have a factory in Pune, which is one of the automotive centers in the country. We have an R&D center and a tech center. There's a lot of really intelligent people, working on this problem and, kind of trying to solve this from all angles. So the scale of things is, our factory can produce up to 30,000 cars a year. That is the scale of things that we can, and each car helps, take away 3 tons of carbon every year that people drive it. So just imagine the amount of change you can make. In fact, the scale of automotive sector is what really drove me into solving this problem, because I started my journey as an R&D engineer, out of University of Maryland, and trying to solve problems with NASA, US Army, and such. And when you're in R&D, a lot of what you do just ends up being on a shelf somewhere or
Yes.
in a report someplace.
Yes.
And it is a big kick technically because you're solving really difficult problems. But then when I moved to India in 2012, I started working in the solar industry, and I could see the scale of change. And after that, when we started looking at automotive, this scale of automotive and the way it can touch so many lives, both from users point of view, economic point of view, and just job creation point of view. It's just phenomenal, the size and scale of this industry. Of course, it comes with its own challenges, because you're operating such a complicated machine, building something like that, especially with lithium ion and all the, things that it comes with. Of course, you kind of do your hard work, you do your math, and you solve for all of that. So it's an interesting space. We are kind of entering, and we are very close to a market launch. So next few months, we'll see our cars on the road, and that is when really literally the rubber meets the road kind of a moment
Yes.
for us. As a team, we've been at it since 2016. We've had great, people who backed us, early investors, angel investors. We also had crowdfunding equity round.
Mhm.
So there's not just, people who are working on the car. There are a lot many believers outside of the execution team who would love to see this, come to life. And that's where, joining hands with Gensol gives us that, ability to scale at the right time with the right mindset. So there's a lot coming in later this year.
I'm sure. And, as they say, here's the 10-year overnight success in the making. But I want to pause and
Yeah.
acknowledge, the just the sheer effort it takes to move from one country to another across all the oceans, spend time here, learn here, work here, and then go back and take on an extremely challenging industry and then make a dent in that. Hats off to you. It's, I mean, you have to be crazy to be doing this, which is, going to come to life pretty soon here. So, again, I wanted to make that acknowledgement because these are not easy problems to solve, but I'm glad you're the one taking them on.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yes. So, Pratik, despite all of these challenges that you just mentioned, uh, what's the one big challenge you want to call out?
I think the one big challenge, I think all of us, in the EV industry know about it, because it's a significant change in the automotive industry, and it's such a mature industry, been there for over a century like that. There's a problem every place. Like, there's what we internally right now are also looking at second life of our car, in the sense, where is the battery going to go? Where are all the different parts of the vehicle going to go? Can we refurbish it? Can we reuse in some places? So those are challenges that are, as an engineer, those are challenges that excite me. That okay, we build this product, we put this thing out in the world, but
Mhm.
what happens after this, right? Then one big decision that we took was we will stay at a 48 volt.
Mhm.
People who know automotive or electric
Yes.
automotive will always tell you that go higher in terms of voltage. But there's a lot of benefit staying at 48 volt, because then our batteries can straight away come out of cars and
Right.
go into stationary applications like mobile tower backups and
Mhm.
office backup systems, where they can live another 10, 15 years before they have to be recycled. And
Mhm.
there's a lot of smart people working on recycling batteries. So our hope is, they will by then figure out a, economic way of recycling these. So it's those kind of challenges, along with the challenges that we have currently, that we are also mindful of, as a company and as a unit. So there's lots of, if I were not an engineer, suppose like I had a finance background, I would be probably trying to solve, a problem around financing. EV financing is not
Yes.
straightforward. The dealership model doesn't really work in EV. So there's a lot of challenges this ecosystem, this EV industry is throwing at the world. And we are doing our bit. I'm sure there are, I know a lot of people who are doing theirs. So a lot, if we all put what our best foot forward, I think we can get through this, and see larger adoption of EVs, in the coming years.
Well, I want to continue that where you're headed and ask you about the most exciting opportunity you're targeting.
Yeah, and the exciting opportunity is right ahead of us.
Yes.
There are 150,000 small cars being bought in India every
Mhm.
month. And 99% of them, in fact, almost 99.5% of them are petrol, diesel, CNG vehicles, as in that. What big an opportunity to, kind of make a dent in that.
Yes.
And that is what excites us. We want to see our vehicle every corner of India. And then the great thing about solving for India is also you solve for large part of the world. So we are absolutely aware that if we launch this vehicle in India and it becomes what we want it to become, this can easily transfer, go to travel to other parts of the world, Latin America, Africa, Europe, large parts of Asia. And, so that is the biggest challenge that we're trying to solve. And like I said, there are many parts of that puzzle,
Mhm.
trying to kind of compartmentalize it and kind of solve for what is solvable and what is not solvable. What can we do about them? So there's a lot of exciting stuff around
Yeah,
that.
we have to pick and choose our battles because there's so many of them. So,
Yeah.
Pratik, I want to take a look back in time and ask you about two instances. One which did not work out, was a failure, became a lesson, and another one that blew your own expectations and was a success beyond your imagination.
Uh, yeah, this is way back in time. I think I was a couple of years out of my master's, and I was working on a project with NASA
Mhm.
where there was a communication protocol between, these emergency beacons we were involved in and the satellite. And the spec was written in 1960s. And, the project on hand was to upgrade, so to increase the speed of communication, accuracy of communication, and all of that stuff. And here, you're a young engineer, you think you can solve, people are talking on megabytes, and this was like 400 bits per second. How hard could it be? You know, once you get into the physics of it, you realize why those smart people designed it the way they designed it. And whatever we tried, we couldn't really break too many barriers on that side. And so yeah, that was a big lesson for me as an engineer, is like never underestimate the challenge that you are up against. It's always important to take note of it and then then go around solving it, rather than be boastful about it at the beginning and think it's going to be easy. So that failure taught me a lot of things about myself, about just pure engineering, right? And then engineering is about solving problems, and physics is the biggest enemy that you have.
True.
Even now in EV, the weight is a biggest enemy, because
Yes.
every kilo that you add on the car, you have to buy more battery, and that
Right.
inefficiencies and stuff like come in. So it's a battle against pure physics on many fronts, and that is what that real experience taught me. Uh, Something that really blew, or at least I was really taken aback, was when in 2018. So we started this journey in 2016, and
Right.
2018 we did our concept launch. And I remember we were completely out of money. I borrowed some money from my brother, and we put our concept, first working concept car, in one of the busiest mall in Mumbai. And we hardly had money to do that, and we never had money to kind of do any ads around it. So
Mhm.
we just chose a Sunday, and we said, let's just put it in the center of the mall. Let's see what happens. And 2,000 people showed up. There were 5 media outlets. I don't know how they found out, this was happening. And, just seeing that excitement of people when they saw. So, our car is not the conventional car. It's a three-wheel
Mhm.
car with two wheels in front, one in the
Right.
rear, mainly because this kind of reverse strike platform gives you the same stability as a hatchback, and
Right.
it's a nice, comfortable cabin. So there were apprehensions about how people would react to it. India is the land of auto rickshaws. What
Yeah.
about that? But people really loved what they were seeing. They were really inquisitive. They were interested to know what is it about, what are we trying to do. And we just had conversations all through the day. And then I think we spoke to more than 600 people.
Wow.
And that really, put a complete, like, it fueled our entire team who were there that
Yes.
day. And that really, that energy is what we carried all through this hard years and stuff like that. But yeah, that was one of the moments when we were like, yes, I think we can do it.
A nice Hail Mary there. Uh, I know you have extremely long days, but I'm curious to ask you, what do you do for fun?
Uh, I like to spend time with friends and family. That is my, my quiet time and my reset time. I also love playing tennis. So
Yeah.
whenever I am not traveling, even if I'm back at a 2 a.m. flight somewhere, I'll get up in the morning and go play tennis. I think that really is something that I enjoy. It's a great sport, and so those are a few things that really help me reset and re-energize for the day.
That's awesome. Tennis is one of my favorites too. Now, I want to move us into my favorite part of the show, which we call the one line life lessons. And we would love to hear a few of your life lessons.
Yeah, so I think these are not something that I have written or I wrote them, but these are things that really I feel I try to tell people about it, or this is something that is at the center of what I love to do. Is I think the first one is do the math. I think in a world of uncertainty, especially when you're a startup or you're trying to do something new, the only thing you can control is work things out, what are solvable, right? And there's a lot of uncertainty, things can go wrong, markets can go wrong, people can let you down, there could be a whole bunch of things. But at the core, if you control what is controllable, that is the only thing you can do. So do the math is one mantra that I keep telling people, to at least reduce the number of surprises. So that's one. Second is it's a mix of two. So my dad sent me this a few years ago. He saw it on the bottle of the most favorite whiskey of the world. Keep walking, and I added to that is increase your chances. Because again, from speaking as a startup founder, you never know which email, which cold call could work out for you. Or so keep walking. That perseverance just increases your chances. There's somebody looking for something like what you're building, some client, some investor, some company, so just persevering will increase your chances. So keep walking, increase your chances is the second one. Third, it's all about having fun. I think that is something I learned early on in my career. My first boss was a big proponent of it, and you kind of become the bosses that you've kind of worked with professionally. And I was really, it was really good to have somebody like that. So having fun is not just about partying and stuff, but I think just involving everybody in the team. If you energize the team, if the team really understands you're on the same page, then just working becomes so much more easier. It's so much more fun. You're making memories while you're working. And I remember, like, I think 2 weeks ago when we were on a call that night, we were doing some test drives, and I think 30 of us were at the R&D center till 4 a.m. And I don't remember anybody not laughing or smiling all through the night. So just having that bonding, and then that sense of ownership together just adds to the fun. So it's whatever you do, you should try to make it fun for everybody. uh, and so the fourth I have is, and I'm a true believer in this, is business, like life, is all about relationships. And people treat networking as something that you have to do, but it's not about that. It's about talking to a person, understanding, really be interested in the conversation, building a relationship. Again, this connects to what increasing your chances, because the more people know about you, what you're trying to do at the core, I think that is what people connect to more than, where you're from or what you look like, or, what are your interests. I think what you're trying to do, if somebody knows that and why are you trying to do, and you do the same with them, I think those are when strong relationships are formed on the business side of things. And so that is one other thing I really believe, that it's all about relationship. There's so many examples in this journey alone where people have come, somebody I met 5 years ago, we were completely again out of money. That's another thing about starting an automotive company, is every year you run out of money. So there have been a few of those, and I was just online, and I got a message, and this person I had interacted not more than 2 hours in totality, and she was like, I'm part of this startup thing, and you want to put your name in it. And that's how we got the next round of funding. And these are not based on calculations. So if you build relationships, it will really help you personally, and also what you're trying to do. uh, the fifth one is think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Again, this comes from this whole, seeing the world from a point of view of, being really grateful of what you're dealt with and what you have, and think about the people around you. As in, that's at least what is driving us currently, me personally, is what happens next. If we don't do what we're doing, like we talked about earlier in the call, that we're looking at grim situations wearing uniforms. So if we all think deeply about the world, not just from environmental point of view, I think every on multiple aspects, we live in a very, very divided part of history. I think 10 years, 20 years down the line, we people will look at this time, as something where the whole world was split. But it's a pendulum swing. I think we are just going through this bad phase, and we'll get out of it. But yeah, then if you all just stood up and started thinking more about the people around us, I think it will change faster. So these are my five mantras that I really believe in and live my life around.
Pratik, thank you so much for sharing those one-line life lessons, but more importantly, sharing your journey and your story so transparently. As you said, there is so many ups and downs, so many challenges, especially in the industry and sector you have taken on, because that's where the most impact is going to come in. And again, can't think of a better leader than you to bring about this change in a country like India that needs it a lot more. So, thank you again for doing what you do. Kudos to you and your team for where you are, which is so close to, as you said, the rubber meeting the road, and can't wait to be a part of that journey as things start to kick off.
Thanks, Ethan. This has been a pleasure, and I always enjoying watching your series. So, looking forward to more of such episodes with other interesting people.
Thanks so much, Pratik.